Alright, this is going to be part 2 of Top Bar Beehive, or phase 2. And one of the things I noticed when I put this hive body up here is sitting on my sawhorses. This is just about a comfortable height. I noticed that this is a comfortable height. And so I thought to myself, well, here's what I'll do then. I'll just go ahead and leave it right there. And I've already got my tape measure here in place. And so I'll just see what length I need. It's a 4-foot 1x4 here. And so knowing that I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle off for the footing, and I'll just put it in place about what I think it should be and see what the length is. And by George, there's, look, 3 feet. And that's going to be just about right. So I'm going to cut these 3 feet and put a couple holes in them, and we'll be back. Alright, now I've cut off that 1 foot length there, so now I have 3-foot boards, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle here, because this is going to be at an angle, and so the footing will be good. So I'll cut a 45-degree angle on each end, this because so it will fit flat on the ground, or as close to it as possible, and the other just for really just for the look of it, to make it look nice at the top. And there's no need for you to be listening to the high-pitched whine of a circular saw, so I'll come back to it. Alright, well, now I have my 45-degree angle cuts made, and now we're going to put that top bar body back up here on the sawhorses and see how that looks. Well, you know, there's a lot of value in that measure twice, cut once concept. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do here since I'm operating this one-handed. I'll just mention here that one of the accommodations that I was going to have to make anyway was the hole, the entry hole for the bees. And I had already drilled that. And what I'm going to do here is, to make this at least close to as high as I wanted it, I'm going to bring it down to about 4 inches from the top. And what I'm going to do is drill 2 holes in here. I've got bolts. I'm going to have 2 bolts in each one of these legs, and I think that's going to work out just fine. So I'll just measure down 4 inches and equal distance from side to side, and drill my holes for my bolts. All right. Well, just to set a standard for all my other boards that I'm going to install here, I've decided to put the first hole, the top hole, at 5 inches from the top and 4 inches from the side, and that's going to be the inside hole. So we'll go from there. And by the way, I thought I would just go ahead and mention that what I'm using here as my standard on my distance here is 2 inches from center to center on the holes. Now, as you can probably tell, I'm not as experienced in woodworking as other people on YouTube, but I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. You can do it any way you want. But I have this little bubble level here, and what I'm going to do, because like I said, I've only got two hands here, so I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do, and then I'll do it and come back to it. I've got my little bubble level here, and what I'm going to do after I put this camera down is I'm going to get that bubble centered and tighten up that nut a little bit, and then I'm going to drill my other hole and put the other bolt in. And we'll come back to it from there. Well, okay, never overlook the obvious. I realized when I had a little movement there that I can't use the bubble level because this thing is, you know, it has the wire mesh under it, and it's not sitting flat. And but what I do have is a line that I've struck, because I measured down 4 inches from the top on each one of those and struck a line. So I just lined it up with that line and tightened it down, and now I can drill my other hole. I might mention too that I'm not really concerned about this bolt sticking out here, because my main concern is that on the inside, where the bees are, that there's a this nice rounded head inside where the bees are going to be. And that's the way I want it to be. Also, I might point out that I am using a lock washer here, that once I cinch this rascal down, this is going to be a nice stable leg. All those are going to be nice stable legs. All right, well, some time has passed, and I've had to kind of interrupt my project briefly and go get preparation for basketball practice. But anyway, so far so good, and this is how it's looking. And you know, one of the things I could have done differently, and I did it this way because I had to accommodate for the entry hole. Now remember, the other style of top bar beehive doesn't have the entry hole here. It has the more fancy style has a landing area, has the board protruding here, and a landing area for the bees to go in, and they go in underneath here. But in order to accommodate for this entry hole here, well, I went ahead and put the legs in this configuration. And so now I'll go ahead and do the other end. Well, I just realized I hadn't really shown this part, but what I was doing to just to make it simple and easy to make my holes on the board is just lining up my tape measure here, and then going down. I know they got to be 2 inches apart, so I just go down and make myself a dot, a point right there at 2, come right over to 4, make another point there, and actually use the width of the tape measure as a measuring point. And just make it simple like that. At the 2, at the 4, they're 2 inches apart. Done. I'll drill there. Well, alrighty then. There you have it. That is now phase 2 of the building of the top bar beehive. There it is, standing on its own and ready to make the bars. Well, actually, also we need to paint the boiled linseed oil and melted wax on it to preserve it, and then make the bars. So that's it for phase 2. Okay, well, we've decided now that these legs are just way, splayed out too far, and at 45, like I said, it's better to measure twice and cut once, and this is just going to take up too much space with these legs way out here. And so here's the correction. The correction is going to be this, and the way I made this correction is this. I took out the bolt that was here next to it, and used this bolt as a pivot, and rotated it around. And the standard is going to be, you see where this corner meets this edge? Okay, that's going to be my standard for all of them now, using that as my pivot point. And now this is going to look, as you can see as I back up, that's going to look a little more reasonable as far as how much room this thing takes up. So I'm going to make that correction and be back. I hope you appreciate that I'm willing to have egg in my face here and make these make mistakes and then make the corrections so you can benefit from my mistakes. All right, now this is the new and corrected look. It's still not it's not perfect, as you can tell, but I think it's good enough to go. So we'll proceed from this point. Paladin Prepper.